In today's episode, I'll be giving my reaction and review for the fourth season of Outer Banks. So let's jump right into Outer Banks Season 4. Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the dub cast. Now, this will be my second show that I review post it airing live. Obviously, Netflix had the whole system change where they'll send you or they give you 5 episodes to watch now and then 5 episodes to watch a month later. I just finished watching a short time ago, so we're just gonna jump into the whole season because I was not able to. I'm so behind on watching stuff because of other things happening in my life, football, etc. So I'm going to give you the whole rundown of the season. I got some quick notes on all the episodes, so we'll go through that. And then I can give my overall thoughts on the season at the end of it. And I mean, I can kind of preview it here. This was not a good a season of television. I'm sorry. Now, this is a Netflix show, so take that with a grain of salt. I think there's kind of a model out there for the Netflix shows where they have a really good first season of something and then they have to make the second season more grandiose and more crazy things happen in order for them to think that it's real. Like they don't just do a different idea. It's like the same idea, but it just gets ratcheted up every time. Like I'm thinking of Stranger Things season 1 to season 2 to season 3 to season 4. Like season 4 of fucking Stranger Things have an hour and a half long episodes. 13 Reasons Why, you have like the first season, which was really good, and the second season's just nuts. The third season's just absurdly nuts, and then the fourth season's just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, that's kind of the model for these shows. And I think Outer Banks, the first season was the best season. Granted, I'm not even the biggest Outer Banks fan. Like, it's kind of been a hate watch for me in the past couple of years, if I'm being honest. Like 13 Reasons Why, I genuinely enjoyed that show. I know this isn't a 13 Reasons Why podcast, but this show is just kind of like, what are they going to do now? And, I do like some of the characters. But this season especially felt really underdeveloped. A lot of things that happened felt like didn't really have precedent for happening before that. Obviously, you have the big death at the end of the season. Full spoilers ahead, by the way. I'm just going to get into it now. The whole season, full spoilers. I felt like the death at the end of the season was not very like, what are we doing post that? That's the whole arc for the last season. I guess this is the second to last season of the show. But it just felt like the storylines were even less developed and thought out than before. And where we ended, it's like we're doing this like season 1A type thing where it's like nothing really gets resolved in the first half of this season. Like, think of everything we just went through to get to the point where we're at. Like, what are we doing? I felt like we didn't see enough characters that I really liked. Like, we didn't see Rafe at all, or enough. We barely saw Topper. I think Topper had something interesting to the show. Maybe his dynamics have just played out of the show, but those are my two favorite characters. Sue me. But I don't know. Like, it felt like a lot of these characters, like Sarah and John B, were kind of just along for the ride in this season. Like, this Pope was just doing, like, Pope has the same story arc every season. I don't even want to talk about JJ, dude. Like, seriously, that might be my least favorite character of any TV show ever who's, like, supposed to be a good guy. Like, holy fuck, bro. We'll get into it with these episodes, but JJ did nothing for the group this whole season. Like, wow. That was just crazy. There's no more Ward. Like, I thought Ward was really interesting. John B's father, they kind of brought him back from the dead last season to make that interesting, and now he's gone, so it's like, we try and introduce these other characters like Groff, and I mean, Groff's, like, kind of just like a classic whatever, but like Leitner and that group, like, we know nothing about them. The girl who played Jadis in The Walking Dead did a decent job just being like a British chick who didn't give a shit about anything, but like Leitner's supposed to be this intimidating character. We don't know anything about his motivations or what he's doing. Like, they're just a part of a bad group, and that's like our antagonist of the season. It's like, what are we doing here? And we throw in new characters like the real estate agent lady and the guy who tries to steal their house from them with the legalities and stuff. And like, yeah, I don't know. I thought this was the worst season of the show so far. Let's dive right into the episodes because I'm tired of ranting about it. Did you guys think this, like, I actually was very surprised because I went on TV Time, and on TV Time you can kind of track by the episodes, and it's like season episodes 1 through 9, everyone's like, oh, this is like blah blah blah. Everyone's hammering home how this is a great show. Once again, on episode 10, bro, people were not happy with the way this season ended, the way the direction of this show, and I agree. Like, there's a lot of plot, like it just wasn't well thought out in my opinion. Also, the outside dynamics of the show, you have Madison Bailey and Rudy, whatever his last name is, who plays JJ. Apparently that's impacting everything because now JJ is off the show because of this dynamics. Like, and you're choosing Kiara. I mean, I hate JJ, but it's like you're choosing Kiara over him. I thought maybe, what do I know, but this just was not very well thought out, and I think the drama is getting into the show. You have Chase and I'm forgetting the actor for Sarah Cameron, whatever their names are. They were dating in real life and they broke up in real life and they still have chemistry on screen. Like, it seems like they actually like each other on the show, where you have JJ and Kiara who barely have scenes with each other and have to stunt double in order to have a scene together after all this build up to their romantic relationship, which I don't like how the group's just kind of devolved into three couples. I think that's pretty stupid. I think Cleo they kind of introduced to be the couple for Pope, but whatever. So let's dive into these episodes. Like I said, this isn't like an in-depth Succession watch like I did where I had like 15 minutes worth of content on every episode. I took a couple notes, jotted them down for this season of Outer Banks. So episode 1, we have the Enduro. Good to see that Kiara's parents took it well again. What is, like, every time they get so mad at her and they're like, you're staying here and you're not leaving. First of all, these characters are supposedly 19, which I want you to keep in mind as we move along. But what's, like, obviously she's just this rebel kid. Like, she's not going to live your quote-unquote kook lifestyle. Like, that she's not a part of that at all. She wants to be a pogue and hang out with these guys and drink beer and do nothing with her life. Like, let her live this life. It's 2024, man. The dad, especially, like, what the dad does later makes no sense to me, but we'll talk about that when it happens. But it's like the same old tired tropes with the show. Kiara's parents are upset that she's out with the boys and drinking and found a treasure ship and won $1 million. Like, come on, bro. So of course this season starts off with them needing to get their property back, or JJ's property back, and who decides to screw it up by spending way too much money? It's JJ. I don't get why people love JJ so much. He's so selfish. He's so self-centered, and everything he does is like only for his own good. He's like has sentimental value with this house that apparently, we know he had a shitty upbringing in this house, so it's like obviously has sentimental value, but we're overspending money just to get it back and put it in this guy's face. Like, why wouldn't they just use that money to get a different house? It's Outer Banks. You could get like a decent house with $1 million, but what do I know? They spend way too much money on this, only leaving themselves with a small amount of money, and guess what? They're going to use the money on. They're going to save it up to pay property taxes. That's a good idea, right? You don't want the IRS knocking on your door and evicting you from your house, just like JJ's dad got evicted from the house, and that's why it's up in auction for the first place, right? Why would you want to do that? That's a really sound idea. Good for these young people, 19 years old, getting their shit together, paying property taxes. Let's go find that money. Let's go pay the tax collectors here. The IRS is here to collect our house money. Oh no, JJ actually spent it all on himself to win a race on a dirt bike, on a shitty dirt bike, while Topper and Rafe have like $19,000 bikes. Yeah, okay, JJ's got scrap. He'll win it. This guy's a fucking menace. I hate him. Even from episode 1, I thought it would take a little bit for me to get warmed into the JJ like hate train. This episode or this season, he's off the rails, bro. There's nothing good he does in this whole season, and it starts right in episode 1. He wastes all their money, overbidding on the property and betting on himself to win the race. Obviously, he doesn't win the race. Whatever, and they have to have John B come in to help as like on a shitty bike, and obviously he's not gonna win. And I do respect the fact that these kids actually lose, but like it's to the point where they just lose so much, and they still keep finding a way out of doing like any responsibilities and being like facing actual real consequence, besides the last episode where like it doesn't even matter what they do. So that's episode 1. That's all I really took from that episode. Episode 2 is called Blackbeard. So now we need information on their hunt to find this new treasure that Blackbeard has, and JJ's got to give up his bike to go get this information from one of his old military, or his dad's old military friend. Poor JJ has to give up his bike, guys. Maybe don't bet on yourself to win the race, and don't overbid on your own house. God, what are we doing? It's like, he's so like mopey, like, I don't want to give away my bike. Give it up, bruh. This is a lot. Like, you can give something up. You have a van. You don't need a bike. Um, a random dead man is just there with a tattoo. Nice. Like, cool. There's more dead people in this Outer Banks. Why isn't the FBI in Outer Banks with the amount of dead people that's resulted from this? You have Rafe, the sheriff, John B's dad, and this is all in the span of a couple of years, right? Dead man on the shore. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of people. Rafe almost killed Sarah in season 2 or 1. I forget when that was. Season 2, I think. Um, Terrence is going to die later on in this season. Like, Groff's wife, Groff's stepdad or whatever he is. Crazy. And this is the episode we meet the Groffs. You could always tell Chandler's going to be a little bit of a suspect character. The his uncle or great uncle or dad or whatever the guy is telling them this curse, and the curse isn't a real thing. It's just Chandler killing people, which was kind of obvious to me the whole time. So they get the mission to go to the underwater scuba, and of course they can't just have a nice scuba mission. I mean, this was giving me the heebie-jeebies. I don't like scubaing. I scubaed once, and it scares me now to think to going back and do it. So they don't take the mandatory break that you're supposed to take, which makes them have to be in a tank for 24 hours after that. So once again, whose fault is that? JJ's fault, because he's being selfish and wants to waste time, or not waste time, but use all the time to go get the treasure when you're supposed to take a break, reset the air, reset your breathing. If you don't, you get like whatever they got. They were about to, their fucking veins were about to pop out of their fucking skin because they didn't take the break. Crazy underwater fight. We have two amateur scuba divers versus fucking Lightner, and he like cuts the cord and leaves Key to die. And then of course JJ makes it up like, I don't think Key would have made it out of this in a real life situation, like, if I'm being real. Also, JJ's locked in like the submarine door. What are we doing? I mean, it's like these guys make it out of everything. So that's episode 2. Episode 3, the Lupine Corsairs. Of course, they're trapped in the tank in the hospital. That's not going to last a long time because they need to get out, because Leitner's now in the hospital because he got scraped underwater, and he's going to go to the hospital to fix that. So, of course, everything happens here is so dumb. They break out of a hyperbaric chamber, steal a medical file, and just make it out like nothing happened. You know, this is just another day on the block, breaking out of a hyperbaric chamber, stealing a medical file. Yep, that's what I did that yesterday. Come on, bro. Rafe, we haven't talked about Rafe yet, and Rafe's my favorite character of the show. I've decided that this season and last season. I'm sorry. Kill me for it. He's got this new girlfriend. He's been kind of laying low key. He's working on this deal with Hollis to acquire Chandler Groff's island. And the real estate agent, this woman, makes a play at Rafe to get him involved in it, so they can all do it in a group buy of the island. They need Rafe's money in order to purchase this island, but Rafe's kind of tentative on it. So Rafe's girlfriend, his new girlfriend, who I like as a character, honestly, she makes a deal with Hollis to persuade Rafe to go and spend this money and use it to buy the island. I'm okay. Like, I'm fine with it. I mean, she's got to make that money, you know. She's a pogue on Outer Banks, so God forbid she gets a little bit of money. She needs to take it. And Rafe's kind of a piece of shit to her, especially in the first half of the season, so I don't hate that move for her at all. But my boy Rafe got screwed over. Last part of this episode, Cleo gets taken hostage. Of course, they, after all these seasons, haven't learned that you can't just leave one person alone because they're going to be taken hostage or something's going to happen to them. So the people in Leitner's group take Cleo because she's there alone and she's the least relevant to the group, and they left her while they go on a trip to surf a wave, I think, and they just left her there. So yeah, that's how we leave off episode 3. Episode 4, The Swell. Crazy episode. So, of course, it's Outer Banks Swell Day, where everyone just goes to the beach and surfs, apparently. So, of course, JJ, John B., Sarah, Kiara all head out to go surf. And what do you know? The one spot on all of Outer Banks, and let me preface this by saying the whole east side of North Carolina is the whole ocean. So Outer Banks, I'm assuming there's miles and miles of beaches, right? But of course, the one spot where Topper and Rafe pull up with their girlfriends and their squad is 2 feet away from JJ and John B. and the Pogues. Totally normal, right? Like, notice how there's no other people there, no other outside no other just normal citizens. It's just those two groups, so it's not some sort of big spot that everyone knows about. Just right next to each other. That'll do. So Topper is gonna have a little confrontation with John B. They're gonna meet in the middle. Let's this shit's over with. Topper's got a new girl now. He doesn't need to be messing around for Sarah anymore, even though Sarah, I think, would still take Topper back if she really needed to, or just use him because that's the way she is with Topper for some reason. But Topper kind of owns John B in this confrontation, I think. You know, there's a lot of history, but I don't need to get into it between these two characters. But yeah, could they not park anywhere else, Topper? Like, you guys are just asking for confrontation at this point. Like, I didn't feel bad for Topper and Rafe in this situation. Also, they just brought a squad. They have like 10 people in comparison to 4, so they always have the numbers. And that's something, another common theme of the show is the Pogues never have the numbers. It's always the Kooks who have like 3 people to 1, and then it's always always have the man advantage. So everyone's chilling, like having a good surf day, whatever, drinking on the beach, having a good time. But of course, guess who has to cut in on the wave that Topper was going to ride after he called it? JJ steals the wave from Topper, knocks him over, and then all the all the reactions from Topper's boys are all like, "Yo, get him!" Like, then they get pissed off at him, and so this leads to even bigger kerfuffle because you have all of Topper's group hanging out by the their squad section, and then they're like, "We got to do something to get back at JJ, like he stole that away from you, man. Like it's fucking like taking a fucking watch from him or something." But in my opinion, Topper's still a good guy. I think these people are just shitty around him. His girlfriend, Topper's girlfriend, is the most evil character in all of television. Like, what was she on this season? She just is so mean and hateful and spiteful, and she doesn't have an inch of like empathy or happiness in her body. She just wants to see the world burn and wants these people to literally die. I think she literally wants to see JJ and John B and Sarah and Kiara die. Like, I would not be surprised at that. She's driving a Jeep on the beach, and they're like, pull away, pull away. Now, of course, you have JJ and Kiara are trying to help a turtle hatch because, of course, at this exact moment, a turtle hatch happens where turtles are even in Outer Banks. Or am I just completely breaking that? But I'm sure they are. So these turtles are hatching. They're like, oh, good, we'll help the turtles while they're all stewing over here. Topper and Rafe's group is all stewing about the turtles, or not the turtles, they're all stewing about JJ cutting the wave up. They're like, you gotta go do something. So his girl's like, I'm not gonna be a bitch, like I'll go run right into him, I don't care. So she just takes the Jeep, drives directly at them. Kiara's like waving and JJ are waving like stop, stop, stop. She just has no gas brake, pulls off to the side like barely at the last second, almost kills them. This girl is insane. And then of course she kills one turtle, which I think it would have been a lot more turtles. But that's like, wow, you guys suck. You know, I don't even know. And they're like, we don't care about the turtles, even after they say that they killed them. Like, these people have no empathy. They're just robots meant to be the antagonists of the season. Bullshit. So while this is happening, Cleo's still being held captive. You have on that ship with Lightner and the other woman, that group. Guess who's the captain? It's Captain Terrence from season 2. And he's back. Obviously, Cleo was on his ship working, so they have a nice relationship. Terrence is like, listen, you got to give it up. Like, I'm going to try and help you get out of here, but if you don't, like, we're going to be fucked up. And eventually Cleo's going to have to give up, but Pope shows up at the last second with the information that they want, and then Terrence, or Lightner, is about to kill Cleo because she makes a move to try and get back at him, attack him, and then Terrence steps in and is like, nah, you ain't doing that, bro. And then Lightner kills him and then leaves. So R.I.P. to Terrence, a real homie. He stepped up for Cleo when it mattered. And so now they just have Terrence's dead body in the house once Sarah, John B, and Kiara and that group make their way back to the house. So as we end up this episode, the police just pull up to JJ's old house where they've been living this season because there's a dead body in there. So they need to get there right away. And they obviously don't know that, but they have to hide a body. Or will they just be eating shit? We'll find out in episode 5, which is titled Albatross. So quickly, let's just hide a body and a gun while a cop is literally outside calling for them. Like, this felt like the longest 3 minutes of all time, where they just hit a body and hit a thing for JJ, and then they all hide and make sure that he doesn't get in trouble. Of course, just get off scot-free. Like, so much drama just for them to do nothing about it. JJ actually JJ actually made me laugh. This is the best JJ moment of the whole season. Shoop shows him the video that he took at of it that the girl took from the last episode of him being like, "I'm gonna kill you guys," and he's like, "AI is getting real good out there." That was funny from JJ. But Shoop knows JJ. He knows that that shit's just bullshit. Like JJ actually said that. I respect Shoop this season. Well, actually not until like a couple episodes from now, but Shoop is always the man. So him showing that threat video was just funny. The AI joke was funny. So we have Rafe and Hollis. Hollis is still trying to push this deal to go through for Rafe to use his money to buy Groff's Island, but he turns down Hollis once she's making some romantic advances. I thought for sure he was going to do it, and I think they're doing this might be a crazy comparison. I think they're doing a Bryce Walker on Rafe, where they're trying to make like this bad guy seem good. Like all of a sudden, Rafe's now like one of the good people. So I think we're supposed to like Rafe in this season, but okay. I've always liked Rafe, so there's that. But I wanted to see Rafe and Hollis get together. You know, power. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So there's been this at the Goat Island that they have with Groff and his father-in-law. That's what I've been missing that. He's the father-in-law. So he just pulls up out of nowhere to give JJ a note saying something. We don't know what the note says. He just pulls up randomly. It's like, here you go, JJ. Obviously knows exactly where he is, where he'll be. Give him the note, head out. So episode 5, friendly reminder, there are 19 in this show. They are 19 years old. All of them. What is the time span of the show? Have they just been chugging beer since they're like 16? What are these people smoking weed every day and just chugging beers? They're 19 now. I don't even have anything to say. So by this time in the episode, Sarah, John B, Cleo, and Pope are in Charleston. They're at a church. They need to find something there to do with the scroll. And Sarah can't not freak out around rats. Now I don't know if there was a rat scene in the last seasons that led on to this, but she just can't keep quiet with the rats, and that annoyed me from Sarah. Honestly, not much Sarah stuff in the first couple episodes, but God forbid there's people that are there that if they see her, they will literally kill her on sight, but there's a rat, so she has to freak out. Okay. Last scene of the first half of the episodes, we have JJ. His dad, Luke, isn't actually his real dad, and of course he has famous ancestors as well, so now we have Pope on the board with famous ancestors. I think John B has famous ancestors. Kiara and Sarah and them, I think, have some sort of connection. Like, they're all just famous people's descendants in Outer Banks. That's just how things go. He's a Jenrette, we find out. His father, actually, I don't know if we know all that yet, but it doesn't really matter. His father is Chandler Groff, or Chandler Jenrette. I don't know. I think it's Groff. I don't know. But his real dad is not his dad. So that's the illusion we've been led to believe. But it's not true. And his dad is not really his dad. His dad hasn't been Luke, the drunk guy. He just raised him and tried to raise him like shit because he didn't want him at to start. And so that's where we leave off episode 5, Albatross. First half of the first 5 episodes, fine, like pretty standard content. Just not great, but it's Outer Banks season 4. What can you expect? So episode 6 is the town council. So of course this one leads off with our cliffhanger from the first 5 episodes. JJ doesn't believe his dad and just runs away immediately. When there's something else that JJ's dad needs to tell him. Not sure what that is, actually, now I'm thinking about it. Guess we'll never know because JJ's no longer with us. But yeah, when your dad's having a serious moment with you and telling you about everything, that your past, your history, your ancestry, your true parents, who you are, who actually is your mother, who's actually your father, nah, just run away. And JJ can't deal with anything ever. It's like romance with Kiara. He runs away from it all the time. He can't deal with emotions at all. So he just runs away. Yeah, and so the big thing in episode 6 is we have this The house thing, obviously Topper is just being a menace and wants to sell their house for like a tourist spot because that's what Topper does now, is just like randomly shit on them even though he has a girlfriend and his own life to live. Um, so yeah, once the ruling doesn't go their way, of course, his dad signed some papers and got scammed like a couple years ago, so there was no way they were going to have the house anyway. What's the thing you do after you lose a court hearing? We have A, handle it respectfully and just we gotta live up the last couple of days. We'll have find some money. We'll all get a job. Like Pope, go back to school. We'll make some money and we'll live out our lives on like the Outer Banks, having a nice house. Um, B, you can protest a little bit. Be like, can we appeal this? We really like this house. We spent the money for it properly. Can we at least get our money back, get a refund? Be reasonable. Try and amend the situation in a more reasonable fashion. Um, you have C, which could just be, just walk out. Like, this is bullshit. Like, refuse to leave the house, make it difficult on the people trying to come get you, something like that, like a standoff type situation, make them really show you the law, something like that. Or D, start a riot and throw a chair through a courthouse and window, and then with all police officers there, and just be a complete menace in the courthouse and say, I want my house back, and really show that Pogues are deserving of everything because you're breaking everything in a courthouse because one thing didn't go your way. So I'm sure if you pick option D, that'll get your house back, right? That'll make sure you can sign right away and get back to Pokelandia and your business, right? That'll do. I can't with JJ, bro. And then he literally is like all around the town. He just menaces and just destroys stores. He's on a rampage. It's like, dude, you're just making this so he has no regard for himself, and also he doesn't have regard for his friends, because by doing this he becomes the most wanted man in all of town. So by doing this he becomes an instant target for the police, and it's like, dude, your life is over now that you're doing. Like, take a deep breath. Don't be so angry and aggressive all the time always with this guy. Oh, it was like this was when I completely was out on JJ. Like, I've been out on JJ, but I can't with this character, bro. A riot through town, like we have like I don't even want to get into it. So that's that. And while this is happening, of course, the friends are trying to help. Um, we have the funny rebel spirit Kiara, who's probably, supposed to be kind of like the anti-police person in the group or whatever. So once they're kind of trying to go after JJ, like they're moving in on him, Pope is just shoves a cop with a gun. That's a good idea, Pope. The most smart character. Even he lets his emotions just fly. Like, it's like, I get it, these characters are all very emotional and they're 19 years old, but like, at least have some reason. And then Kiara right after is like, he didn't do anything. You're just being so like, you're being so like, like trying to make him into something he's not. Girl, he just shoved a cop with he just shoved a police officer. That's like a 5-year charge. I can't with these people. So that's it on episode 6. We'll keep it going with episode 7, titled Mothers and Fathers. So, of course, we have Mr. Chandler Groff at finally admitting to JJ that he's his dad. This is about as awkward as you expect. JJ runs away again because, God forbid, he takes some accountability and wants to be with his actual father and have a family. He just, I don't know. I was over the JJ storyline at this point. So, Sarah, we learn through taking a pregnancy test in a drugstore because it got looted and there's just pregnancy tests for free, finds out that she's pregnant. And she has a really awkward moment with Kiara when Kiara finds her in the bathroom with the pregnancy test. Now, I think this is a stupid storyline to avenge the eventual death of JJ, because now for a fact they're going to name that kid JJ. And that's going to be like his living legacy is their kid that they're having at 19 years old. So stupid. Can we just not do this pregnancy storyline? The kids, they're supposed to be 19 years old. They're going to be raising a family. That kid's going to be 19 when they're 38. Like, they're not even be 40. That kid's going to be in college, man. I don't know. I just wish we didn't need that. We didn't need that storyline, but so be it. Finally, we have them trying to save JJ from Leitner and Groff. Groff, of course, gets captured by them, and so does JJ. So John B is going to light a Molotov cocktail and throw it onto the boat because that always ends well when you light things on fire in the water, and that will free JJ and what's his name and Groff for sure. But John B lights their own boat on fire and just completely exposes their position. Luckily for them, they are able to pull another Molotov cocktail out of their ass and just throw it at them and hit the boat and make it explode so that JJ and Groff can get off. But like, what is John B? You're supposed to be like an athlete. You can't hit a simple throw. And like these 19-year-old kids using fucking Molotov cocktails on people with machine guns. What are we doing? Anyways, that's episode 7. Episode 8, Decision Day. Sarah finally is going to tell John B about the pregnancy, and John B is like, we'll just figure it out. Yeah, we got to get this treasure and just go halfway across the world, and then after that, we'll figure it out. But I don't know why she held this from him for so long. Obviously, she's nervous about it, but like, you want to be like, especially as a couple, I don't want to be like throwing assumptions out there, but when you want to be more in tune with each other, like so that you're aware of what the other person's going through, because Sarah's like passing off Jay's now because she can't smoke, she's pregnant, um, can't drink beer anymore. So what will she do? They'll figure it out. Don't worry. So, shocker alert, Groff double crossed JJ. Then he knocks out Kiara against the van and locks her in a cooler. So he calls the police on JJ, goes back to get the lens reader, I think, at this point. And then he sees Kiara still at the crib, knocks her out, puts her in a cooler. So, yeah, it's pretty much confirmed at this point that he is the killer of all these people. He's been strangling them. But then he goes back to get JJ. Um, which I don't know what his plan was there. Maybe just to get the thing back from Kiara and not have JJ know about it. I don't know, because also these kids in the like you all have iPhones. How is this so hard? Like I know JJ is like supposed to be a character that's probably not on his phone a lot. He's like a Outer Banks kid, bro. Like check your phone, Jesus. Enough with that. I mean, Cleo got saved because of the phone, but regardless from that, it seems like these people forget that they have iPhones. And you can just make a call instantly. Um, so Pope is still held up in jail. He's going to have his resolution with his father and his uncle, who is a military person who isn't really relevant in the season, but it's kind of funny here and there. Um, he's going to go join the military. Pope pay for his actions. He'll get off court. He'll get the charges expunged from his record. Now, Pope is the one person who still has career aspirations, who could still actually make it into the world. So he's finally sitting down with his uncle, like, here's the logistics of it. Oh, I got to go to the bathroom, and then just decides to make a run for it. He's done with it. Yeah, just throw your life away. That's the last one with potential life hope. Unless they find another treasure, which I'm sure there'll be like, I don't even know, like Marco Polo's like coin bag they'll find next season. I don't know, but as of right now, they're all headed into a pretty bad direction in their life. If I'm being honest, I don't think their prospects are looking that high, but I'm sure they'll have a very happy ending because it's the Outer Banks. But stupid decision by Pope. He's supposed to be the most rational character. I get it. You don't want to just exclude him from the show, basically, but like, come on, dude. So we have another scene with the most evil character in the universe, Ruthie. She's actually evil, like the most evil character of all time. She chases Sarah and John and Kiara into a locked storage closet, and she just decides, you know what, they looted our businesses. Let's light them on fire and smoke them out. So we have to like. She is just so evil. I'm so, like, what is her problem? Who hurt you, girl? Like, damn. I did. Ruthie was way too far, bro. Wow. Yeah. So Kels makes his return to just be a dick for like like a couple minutes. I don't know. Like, of course they get out, but having the not added knowledge now that Sarah's pregnant, we're like, really, you're doing this to a pregnant woman? Like, get a life. These kooks need to get a life, bro. They just follow around and try and harass the Pogues for no reason. Like, they're literally just IRL bullies who have no lives and just go around and follow the Pogues. At least that's what it seems like. So Groff makes a pit stop at Hollis's place. Hollis now has all the money from Rafe to support this claim for their island. Hollis is kind of questioning Groff because in the will it's supposed to be Groff's property, and then they're going to buy it from him, use it for their real estate investment. But no, he double crossed them. It's just going to the state, donated to the state. He never even had his name in it. And Groff, decides, I'm done with Hollis, just kills her. Bruh, I liked Hollis, honestly. Like, she was a nice, fresh change of pace for the show. I thought just in her couple scenes, but she's gone, she's dead, R.I.P. And then he frames JJ by leaving the gun in his van. At the end of this episode, they're heading out to go find the treasure, and Groff throws JJ off the boat. He hits his body on something and is floating, of course, dead, left for dead in the middle of the ocean. Have no idea where he could possibly be, but Kiara has his phone signal on Find My Friends, so they go make the rescue and pick him up. Of course, they see him, but Groff has double crossed JJ again. So you know, maybe that'll clue something in later, but as of right now, they're wounded and hurt. They have to make an escape. There's 2 episodes left. What will happen? I don't know. Let's head into episode 9, The Storm. So they make their way through on a boat through a little town due to being like harbored criminals. Like they're all basically wanted at this point. Kiara's dad and mom see them in the pier and see them floating through the pier. It's like, hey, is that Kiara? And these cops are going to shoot them with guns because they're not willing to cooperate with them, which I think is a little bit far on the police end. Also, the police have no like boating. Like if you were just a random criminal in the Outer Banks, just use a boat because the police can't get to you at all with a boat. Like it's crazy how they can just get on a boat and be done, and there's no threat of anything happening to them. Anyways, the police are shooting at JJ. JJ is shooting a flare gun as a distraction to make sure that they don't get shot, which just immediately causes them to shoot, of course. Um, and while this is happening, of course, Kiara's dad, he's a very solid character. He stands up for Kiara a lot. Like, he's very on her side, always supporting of what she does. So he's going to just deck a cop who's shooting. That'll do it, you know. We saw Pope get arrested for doing that, so I wonder what happened to Kiara's dad. He should be serving a 5-year sentence, right? Especially because he's not a 19-year-old; he's a grown man. I thought that scene was really stupid. I mean, you could have somebody else do that, like maybe even Topper would make more sense to save Sarah, but like Kiara's dad, who's been so against this group, clearly hates JJ with a passion. Is now going to stand up for them. I mean, I guess it's lives on the line, but like that scene felt a little bit weakly developed to me. So back with Rafe, he's been on and off with this girl all season. They're really starting to get it together now that he's doing this real estate investment deal. They've had a couple of nice conversations. He decides he's going to propose to her, and he didn't even think they were dating at the beginning of the season. So yeah, I immediately called that this is not going to end well, this relationship. But good for them. You know, I like them together. I like Rafe with that girl. So hopefully it continues the next season. At least their dynamic continues the next season. So essentially, the police finally do make their way out on boat to this little island. Having been shot at their boat, it's kind of like slowly dying with the engine. But who's here to save the day? It's Rafe, the only good character in the show. He buys a huge cargo boat from his boy Barry from the first 3 seasons, the shithead guy, and was going to pull them away and go to Morocco in it. Their boat obviously couldn't make it to Morocco. Shoop is in an confrontation with the kids, like, let's go, JJ, you're wanted for every crime under the book, like, we got to go back to the thing, I got to arrest you. But Shoop gets out dealt by Rafe, who's like, just let him go, and then when they bring back Groff, you'll solve all your problems. And I mean, Shoop was building on this storyline of like, okay, Groff is probably guilty of something, but like, see ya. He just falls immediately for it. He's like, go ahead, go to Morocco, we'll see you when you come back. And then JJ, once everyone's on the boat, Rafe's driving the boat, just got this nice boat for them, just saved them all from being arrested. Let's go to Morocco, right? They're kind of talking it out. They have had some issues in the past, so let's, figure this out. Nope, JJ punches him in the head. And they lock my boy Rafe in a prison cell for this whole, interaction or this whole boat ride. He just saved you guys. Have some respect for the GOAT. That pissed me off, and poor Rafe's stuck in a fucking storage closet about to die, God's sake. So they finally are starting to tell everyone about the kid, John and Sarah, so they want to have JJ as the godfather. Brilliant. I couldn't think of a better candidate for a godfather than JJ, Maybank, Groff. I couldn't think of a single person, not Pope, who's the most responsible one in your group, not even, well, I'm not going to say Rafe, but JJ is the godfather. He'll handle that really well. He'll be a very good godfather. And after this nice conversation, John B's trying to, butter him up, be like, you're a good guy, you're my best friend, I love you no matter what, you're gonna be a great godfather to my kid. JJ's just been drinking for the last like 4 days, so he's just a drunk scumbag, John B. Fuck JJ, bro. So, as this episode winds down, a huge storm happens in the middle of the ocean, as one would happen when you're traveling from Outer Banks, North Carolina to Morocco by sea. Um, and they get thrown in all these waves. Essentially, the big thing that happens here is Sarah is swept off the boat. JJ goes and dives after her with a little ring. Kiara goes back to save Rafe because he's tied down. They don't want to save him. No one wants to cut him loose and just let him drown, but Kiara goes back to save him. Maybe a callback to season 3 when they were kind of together doing their thing. So I think they're about even, but Rafe, they're all alive. They're kind of sitting around this fire, like, how are we going to move on from here? Like, Sarah and JJ are gone. They could be dead. And yeah, how the fuck did all of them survive that storm? I don't understand. Um, I don't know. So essentially, JJ and Sarah are saved. They come later. JJ saved the day, being a drunk asshole, just diving after her. Respect, but like they were miles out on this huge storm. I don't think they would have made it personally. I mean, that's probably not even a crazy take, but like as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, grandiose set building, huge storms, and more happening. It's a Netflix show. It's season 4. We have to fucking. I mean, what are they gonna do in season 5? Like fly a plane in the middle of like a blizzard? They actually will do that. So I don't know. I'm not even gonna rule that out. So episode 10, our finale, the Blue Crown. Rafe, they're kind of all in Morocco and don't really know what to do. Like they walk into town, they don't look. Obviously, the people in Morocco are wearing, I forget what they're called, but they're wearing different stuff. They don't fit in. They stick out like a sore thumb. Sore thumb. They don't have money. They don't have anything. But Rafe, being smart, has a passport and money the whole time. Genius. Always thinking a step ahead, Rafe. I see you. He is now chasing after Groff. He wants his money back, so he sees them on the roof, climbs up to the roof and beats the shit out of Leitner. That's Rafe, bro. Just beat a fucking like special agent. Good job, Rafe. So Pope is still thinking about going to school. Brother, that ship sailed a million times, but it sailed most recently when you just left police custody and are on the run as and a fugitive right now. How about that? So I don't think you're going back to school. I think the best you'll do is run a nice little boatside shop that you guys have. That's your life, buddy. That's the life you chose. No more school. I don't think it's possible. You've already had a miracle to go to school in either season 2 or 3. You had to like pull a bunch of shit to make that happen. I don't think realistically that could happen again. Um, so we have basically it's a shootout. Leitner and his gang and the woman who I don't even know her character's name, the woman from The Walking Dead who plays Jadis, are pursuing the kids. It's kind of a race to see who will get to the Blue Crown first. They see Groff, and he falls down. Or Rafe and Groff have an interaction first because Rafe's separate from the group. Rafe leaves Groff to stay in a bottom of a well. The kids come and see Groff and they throw him some water, but JJ ultimately decides not to pick him up from the well. So Groff's stuck behind, but the kids have a slight advantage getting to the Blue Crown before Leitner and his group do. So Sarah is going to be a part of this battle. Basically, it's a shootout. What happens is Rafe's there first. They're like, just give us the scroll, give us the reader, Rafe. We need it to, we just want to go peacefully. Obviously, as soon as he gives it to them, he's going to die. But Sarah takes the gun, snipes an oil can to save Rafe. Full circle moment for them. Rafe, for the past season and a half, really, maybe even 2 seasons, has been trying to get back closer to Sarah. Ultimately, that's the only family he has left. I mean, I mentioned Wheezy and the fucking stepmother they have that just has abandoned them. But Sarah and Rafe are finally back together. Love it. They get their shit together this episode. I like it. 2 of my favorite, more likable characters. Well, Rafe's my favorite character, but Sarah I like as well. So I'm glad to see they're back on better terms after this episode. Other big events that happen, everything kind of splinters into different groups. It ends up being the couples again, except Rafe's with Sarah and John B. So with Cleo and Pope, Cleo gets shot in the shoulder, and Pope has to ultimately shoot somebody. He doesn't do it, and then he does do it, which I thought was really stupid because, well, he ends up killing Leitner because Leitner's about to come back and kill Cleo. And I thought this was a abomination of Pope's storyline. He's always kind of the one who would never do that stuff. I mean, we saw even John B struggle this season with killing somebody.
He's had a really tough time with that, but Pope just takes the gun and does it. I mean, I guess he's protecting Cleo, but I thought that was a really weakly developed storyline as well. So that's kind of their storyline, Cleo and Pope. With well, they kill Lightner. Sarah saves John B, and Sarah got to get an award for being like the most active pregnant woman in a treasure hunt and just doing mad shit. Like she saved John B. They're okay. Rafe's okay. Ultimately, it's going to come down to JJ and Kiara with the crown. So JJ finds the crown. Kiara is kind of just waiting for him to get the crown. Obviously, there's a huge sandstorm because that's what happens in the show is just massive weather events at all times. So JJ ultimately does secure the crown. He gets it. He comes down, but Groff has Kiara at knife point. He has to take the trade of giving him the crown in order to get Kiara back. So ultimately, JJ is an emotional guy. He wants his friend back and girlfriend back, his lover. So he gives the crown back to Groff in order to get Kiara back healthy and safe. He does. Groff isn't going to leave with just that, though. He stabs JJ. Kind of a what the fuck moment. I mean, this guy Groff has no empathy for anyone in his life. Killed his own wife, killed his own son. He's fucked up. Like, Groff is a very evil character as well. He's down there with Ruthie. I don't know who's more evil, honestly. It's hard to even predict because we see Groff make more better decisions than Ruthie because Ruthie, the only times we see her is just a menace. But this is the end for JJ Maybank. JJ Maybank Groff, whatever the fuck his name is. R.I.P. JJ. Not my favorite character, probably my least favorite character of the main six characters. A complete menace this season. Just really did nothing good for the group. But he's an essential part of the group because he's the dumbass that keeps fucking up, so that they can move on and do better stuff. So I'm interested to see where this show heads. Obviously, the last scene is them wanting to get revenge. Rafe still hasn't got his money back from Groff, so he's probably going to be a part of that group soon. I would predict that. His girlfriend also ends up joining the group as well. She was focused on heavily this season, and so next season we'll see the usual suspects. I'm sure we'll see Shoop again. I'm sure we'll see Topper again and the whole gang and Barry. Like everyone will make their seasonal appearances, but I think the new core group is going to be minus JJ plus Rafe and his girlfriend. They're going to get revenge on Groff, and I don't know. There's probably going to be another. Like the crown probably isn't even just the crown. There's probably another treasure attached to that because there's always an extra step. So that'll do it. Outer Banks season 4. What a terrible season. I think definitely the worst season of the show so far to me. I can't remember anything that happened in season 2, but this just felt like really bad writing, and I don't remember being this emotionally upset with season 2. Actually, I think season 2, I'm remembering the ending of it kind of now is pretty good. Season 3 was crazy, but it's the Netflix arc where every season has to be more and more crazy and more like things happen. So that's just Outer Banks, man. What do you guys think of season 4? I will be back reviewing season 5. Kind of not doing an in-depth analysis as I mentioned before, just kind of going over some of the main points of the episodes. Yeah, I'm too far in. I don't quit shows, so we'll see you for season 5, Outer Banks. We do have another video, Outer Banks. I'm going to do a tier list of characters. I'm sure that'll go over well, so that'll be out shortly after this video as well. Movie reviews, same type of content still coming. NFL streams, college football stream we did last week. NFL always a weekly. Survivor wrapped up last week as well. So stay tuned for this, the tier list, and more TV content coming on the way, more movie content, more sports content. So as always, be easy.